the only one that I've known prior to this.
Right.
Russ and I went to church together when we were very small children, so
Yeah.
I've known Russ my entire life practically. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to give the bio background if you guys want to skip that versus.
We can skip that.
I think we all know. So, well, Russ, we've got just questions to ask, so
Yeah,
I'll let
absolutely.
Craig
Fire away.
kick us off.
Well, I think you already know this, but I'm still going to ask this question. We asked it all, so we kind of get a level playing field. Are you aware of and prepared for meetings outside of regular business hours? Do you plan on making most of these meetings yourself or sending a representative from the office?
Yes, I would plan on attending any meetings that are required. Obviously, the regular county meetings, and then there are probably some more ones that would require the law director to be present at. And but as far as every committee meeting, I don't know if I would commit to being at every single committee meeting, and that in some other committee meetings, depending on the meetings, I could send the associate. But yes, I would plan on attending most of the meetings myself. I think that's important for the law director to be at the like the planning and stuff like that.
I'm going to ask this question. I think I know the answer, but in your current practice, who has been your primary researcher? And with this position being so multidisciplinary, how do you see that aspect of work being accomplished well?
The primary 100% researcher is me. I do all. We don't have paralegals. I have it's my dad and me, and we have an assistant. But I do 100% of my legal research, and see, that's something I love to do. I love doing the getting in and doing the legal research and drafting a lot of the legal pleadings or briefs myself. I just like doing that. But if depending on the circumstances, if you have an associate that is willing to do some legal research, I'm fine subbing that out. I like to be in control, but sometimes I have a hard time delegating that out. I think that answered all. Is that all your question? Did you have?
I don't have a follow-up. Somebody.
Do you see the role of a lawyer to be anything besides advisory?
That's a good question, because being an attorney and the law director position, I found are completely misunderstood professions and positions by most people. It's as far as just advisor, no. I see the attorney or law director as an advocate, going to court, representing them, and giving advice as well. And but the law director position I don't see is setting policy, making the decisions. That goes to the lawmakers. But rendering advice on how you need to do something, that is a very important role. And a lot of my clients don't listen to my advice. That's fine.
And in that, how do you handle that when they don't do what you tell them to do or what you advise them to do?
That it happens all the time. I advise. I say, I think you should go this way. I'm not going to make you go this way, but here's what you probably should do to reduce your liability, or here's, based on my experience, here's what this judge would most likely do. So I recommend you do that. And if they don't, I still zealously advocate for them. I'm not going to not represent them because they don't listen to me, and I'm not going to. I never say, "See, I told you so." I just don't. I don't. But it happens. I want to say that. Be like,
I was going to ask you, do you ever want to?
yeah. I'm like, I told you here's what the judge would do, but I represent them. People don't listen to their doctors. They sometimes don't. They don't like. It's just not a pleasant profession sometimes, and it sometimes can be a difficult relationship, the attorney-client, because you have to say something they don't want to hear, and they don't have to listen. And yeah, I think that answered.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Those were Mark and Jeremy's questions. I like yours better than mine.
I'll ask, I'll skip around, I'll go to questions. You know, what is your opinion on the sheriff's authority to enact or ignore red flag laws passed by the state legislature?
I don't think the sheriff, well, this is again my opinion. Now, you know, I don't know if the sheriff has the authority to ignore any laws. There are, if laws are duly enacted laws, they need to enforce them. Of course, there are some laws on the book that just aren't enforced, but I think we have a situation like that in Nashville where you have, or different areas of the state where they're not enforcing it, but the sheriff takes an oath to follow the duly enacted laws of the state. So I would think the sheriff would need to do that. And then, you know, your follow-up may be, what's the recourse if they don't? You know, that's a good question. It may be, you know, I would have to research that more. If there's any precedent to that, I'm not assuming you would ask that follow-up, but.
I mean, you can answer it if you have.
Yeah.
Answer
I wish I had.
On the subject.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, what's the recourse if they don't, I guess?
I would have to research if there's precedent, like if a civil lawsuit is filed, they can ask for what's called a writ of mandamus, where you are asking the judge to force an elected official to perform their duties. So that possibly, I don't know if that's been done.
Well, I guess my follow-up question would that be is also like, would you consider red flag laws constitutional?
Man, that's a tough one. Is an attorney, when your definition of red flags laws, I guess, would be if there's any indicators that this person may be a threat to be able to possess weapons. As an attorney, I have a hard time with. I like due process. Everybody has rights and due process, and you know, personally, if somebody can just say, "Hey, this person is looking and acting crazy. We need to take away their guns." That doesn't sit well with me. I don't. It's one of those in law school where, you know, this law doesn't smell good. We're just trying to identify the smell. And that would probably be somewhere in the Constitution. That may be unconstitutional. I would have to dig a little deeper to see if there's any case law on that, to see if any courts have stricken those red flag laws down.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. What is your primary incentive to begin a new career path by becoming the Sumner County Law Director?
Oh, that's a good question. I originally, as you know, ran for judge, wanted to be judge, and I do love my practicing law, and I love being an alderman. Being judge was the only thing I was willing to give both of those up for, and quite frankly, this never it was in my mind to be the law director, and the position opened up, and the more I thought about it, I thought it would be a good fit, and it's seems like it would be a good fit with my background here in Sumner County, my experience as being an alderman, as well as practicing law, and I thought it would be a good fit, and I thought I would enjoy it, and this seems like this is something that I would be willing to give up my practice for and focus full time on, as well as give up being an alderman. It feels like a good fit. It's another service role, the way I would look at it, serving the citizens in a different capacity.
Well, we did all right with this one the last go around. I'll try it again. The question is worded. I'm going to read it just a little bit differently. In any instance, when it's expedient or legal to do something, does that necessarily mean that you should?
Right, because those are whether you can or whether you should are two completely different things. So, yes, that might be something where the law director says legally you can, and the commissioners and the mayor, I guess the commissioners are the only ones that are voting, would have to set the policy whether you should go forward on it. That's where the elected officials set the policy. And the law director says, yeah, you can, legally you can go forward on it. I think we're painting some broad strokes. I hope that answers that.
I'm satisfied.
Oh, yeah.
With the recent COVID pandemic, do you believe that the governor acted within his powers under the state constitution to close public access to businesses he deemed non-essential?
And I know has been litigation over this, whether it was constitutional. And again, it's one of those that didn't sit right with me and doesn't smell right, whether it's constitutional or not. That is a different, whether he should and whether it's constitutional are different, two different things. There may be some provisions under the Constitution where it wasn't allowed, like there's a contract clause, and whether that breached or interfered with a contract. I would have to research that, but there is a statute which allows the governor to act in emergency situations.
Mm-hmm.
So whether COVID was an emergency situation, that's, I guess, in the eye of the beholder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'll say about it. So my business our business didn't close 1 minute through COVID, so I'll put it that way.
Were you essential?
I think we were. Law practice was defined as essential, but regardless, we weren't going to close.
Yes. Well, this is sort of the same vein. I'll go to, what is your opinion on the county mayor's or the county commission's authority to enact or enforce mask mandates in public?
I don't think, I'll just be blunt, I don't think they can do that. I don't think there's any authority, based on my research, that allows a county mayor or a county executive to require any mask mandates. I haven't seen it. Maybe the governor, I think the governor had issued an executive order that gave the mayors of the counties or cities, I think it's just counties, authority to do that. Whether that executive order was legal and constitutional, I don't think that was appropriate. So you go to, well, the governor said I could. Was that executive order proper and constitutional? Maybe not.
What is your opinion on placing a moratorium on high-density residential building permits in the county if the county is unable to afford building new schools without tax increases?
And again, we might go back to what is legal and then what you should do. So my understanding is that moratoriums can be issued by cities or counties to stop residential growth or stop any kind of building, and the courts have upheld those for like a period of 6 months. I think the courts have said that that's reasonable to do a moratorium for 6 months while you can put something in place, like get infrastructure in or get perhaps enact an impact fee maybe. That would be, you have to have some kind of legitimate basis for issuing a moratorium, is my understanding. So that's the legal answer, that yes, they can be done for a brief period of time if there's a legitimate reason. is my understanding.
Is it your understanding that moratorium could be extended after that initial 6-month period?
Possibly. I haven't done a really deep dive into that. I kind of just did an overview of it, and that was one case with 6 months, possibly. If you can find legitimate reasons for them, and for brief periods of time, maybe up to a year, I don't know. You would have to find court precedent on it. And the law director would have to give an opinion whether that's would be subject to litigation.
Go. If
Are
you
we
want to take the
finished?
next one, you go ahead.
I feel like we're finished.
No, we are.
It
It always ends on me. It starts on me and ends on me.
Oh, but I asked two extra, oh, sorry.
Well, one of them we didn't ask, and it was the, I'm familiar with the procedures.
The meeting
but-
procedures and protocols.
Yes.
Oh,
You-
okay.
you're-
Yes.
I mean,
I think we
Yeah,
know
we
the
don't have
answer.
to
Trying to
ask
cover
that.
it.
Okay.
We didn't have to ask that question
Well-
too.
Do you know Robert's Rules of Order?
That's what it comes down to.
I feel like I know it well enough. I'm not going to say I'm a complete expert, but I know it well enough. I know how the meetings flow, and I know probably enough to. Yeah, I think we've been faced with enough issues in Hendersonville. And I don't know what the county could be faced with that probably hasn't been faced in Hendersonville. So-
School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, you're a marathon runner, so you're prepared physically for our marathon.
Yes. Well, maybe.
I think we have asked them all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
have,
we did.
yes.
We did. That was
Yes,
the
we
one
did.
that we
Uh-huh.
missed when you went, yeah.
We did well.
We have
Is there
no
anything
action.
that you think maybe we should be interested in that maybe you'd like to interject?
Well, I would, if you don't mind. I mean, I don't want to. I want to be cognizant of y'all's time and not take up too much. And I do appreciate all y'all are doing and all the work you're putting in and properly vetting candidates. I know this is difficult, but whoever you choose, I know will have been properly vetted. So I appreciate that. But I do want to say that I do love being in court. That's what I do. I mean, I try for the last 19 years, civil cases, some criminal. I mean, that's just what I do. I had a trial in front of Judge Thompson Tuesday, lasted almost all day. I'm going to sit for Judge Blanton tomorrow for a civil docket, and so that's what I do. That's me. I just like being in court, and I would like to see the law director, and if it does happen to be me, to handle more of the litigation themselves as opposed to subbing a lot of it out. There may be situations where you need to hire outside counsel to represent the county in certain instances, and I think the law director should probably go before the county commission and say, hey, we need to hire this outside counsel because of this, and state the reasons why they can't handle it themselves. But if I did get the position of law director, I would like to handle a lot of that litigation myself and be in court. I think that should be the primary role of the law director, is to represent the county, and that requires going to court. And that, I guess I look at it from a practical standpoint. I've been a small law office manager for 19 years, and so I've never received a salary. That concept is kind of foreign to me, so I've supported my family on the bottom line. That's what small business owners support their, how they make a living. And so I would like to take that approach as law director and try to save the county money, because I understand that there's been a lot of money spent on outside counsel, and that can be, you can whittle a lot of that down and save a lot of money by handling a lot of the litigation yourself and keep it in-house. I do represent, and I have for years, the Police Benevolent Association, where we represent police officers or deputies who are sued for performing their duties, and I've worked with city and county attorneys in trying to resolve those cases. So I'm pretty familiar with those type of cases, civil rights violations or anything that people sue police officers for, and that's what a lot of the law director handle. And Sumner County is unique because they are self-insured, and so it's not like they get sued and another attorney handles it. It comes down to the law director to resolve those, even workers' comp cases, and you get a lot of workers' comp cases in the county, and that's something I've done for years. I'm familiar with the workers' comp system, and so I would like an opportunity to represent the county.
Anything else? All right, well, Russ, we really appreciate you taking the time to
Well,
think of this